Hi everybody, I'm Jill
And I'm Rami.
with twinflamehealers.com, and it's great to be with you again today. Today we are going to be talking about twin flame triggers as rocket fuel. And we wanted to do this video because all twins are dealing with triggers until we're totally enlightened, right? And twins not knowing how to handle triggers and not knowing how to handle them very well gets us in these negative cycles and can get us separated for months, years, and can get us really feeling and thinking negatively about the twin. So today we're going to talk about how to use triggers to go higher in your ascension process, to heal more deeply and come closer to your twin. So we're going to be talking about the causes of triggers, the dynamics between us, what you can do when you're triggered, and what you can do when your twin is triggered, and then how to heal more deeply after triggers happen. And this video is for twin flames because, again, until we're enlightened, we're going to be dealing with triggers. But it also works for life. It works for your kids. It works for, workmates, whatever. So you can use this to help you go up with any sources of triggering in your life. That's our goal. So we're going to start with a clearing a la Rami, and then we'll dive into the overview and dive in. Yeah.
Okay, so just settle yourself down for maybe 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Go into a place of calmness now. Breathe in and out through your heart chakra. You may have a bunch of pain there. Just bring soothing energy into your heart chakra. You can have pain there for various reasons. Your beloved, issues you've gone through in the past. Breathe through that pain. Be in a place of peace. And get yourself grounded now. So let's ask Lords of Karma, Archangel Michael, to clear your sacrum, your legs, your ankles, your feet, the space below your feet. And let's ask for Archangel Sandalphon and Chamuel to help you ground. Bring in that grounding energy, more in your power. Don't get off base so easily. So later, when you review this video, keep in mind that that's one of the things you can do in terms of keeping yourself grounded and solid when things are difficult with your beloved or with other parts of life. And as you can see, various high beings can play different roles, and they have different specialties. Okay. So open up your crown chakra. Just allow that to happen. Top of your head, 7th chakra. And bring in a little bit of goddess energy. Bring in the element of compassion. So that could be Kuan Yin. That could be Mother Mary. Compassion for all the suffering you've gone through. So you bring compassion to the higher levels of yourself, and then you bring it down into the parts that hurt. So for example, if you're sick, you bring the healing and compassion energy to those parts. For our inner child that's been suffering because we've been treated so badly and etc., this lifetime and by our beloved and so forth, you send that down to your belly. Do that now for a little bit. Just receive a little more. If these things work for you, you can work with them on an ongoing basis, right? So you can heal more and more profoundly.
Okay. All right. So first of all, I'm sure you've all heard, or most of you, if not all, have heard the term trigger. So a trigger, in our definition, is a hook. Basically, it's an event or something that happens in the 3D, often with the twin or with life, that hooks something and brings something up from the unconscious. It brings something that's stuck in the dark up to the light. So we really want to encourage you to start opening your mind that triggers are actually a gift, that they're being orchestrated from our higher selves in conjunction with our twin. So rather than just being a random thing that happens to us, or we're a victim in this terrible thing, or this person does this terrible thing, you can start to think, this is just a hook, and it brought something up that's not too palatable to look at, a painful wound or a trauma or whatever. It's now been brought up into the light for my benefit so that I can heal and transmute it. So, and one thing that is amazing about the twin flame connection, and one of the biggest gifts, is that our twin flame is designed to help us see all of the hidden pieces that we haven't, it's basically hidden pieces that we hadn't brought home to our higher selves, to love, to our soul, to our essence. So any parts of us that are out there still stuck in woundedness or trauma, the twin flame will trigger it all for the purposes so that we can become whole and we can ascend, we can grow. Also, we hold theirs, of course, right? So we're going to be triggering everything for them. So that's the dynamic. So we can look at triggers as a bad thing, or we can shift that and say, what an awesome gift it is if I know how to handle it. And that's the key, right? And twin flames, our energy together is so powerful. If you think of two magnets, there's really not a lot of neutral that goes on for twins. Either the magnets are coming together or they're repelling. So how we handle triggers either gets us using the magnets to come closer or gets us pulling apart. So always be thinking about that. If you're a twin flame, am I repelling or am I attracting? Am I bringing them closer? Am I doing something to get union happening more? One thing that Rami and I found is that we can think of it as a movie, and a lot of people talk about that life is like a movie, and these various people play various roles for us. So we'll talk later about how this all works, but if you can think of it as a movie more, it lightens it up a little bit too, and the twin is playing a role that you, at the soul level, ask them to play. And it's amazing. Our twins really can be chameleons. And Rami and I have seen this over and over again, that he'll do something that's really out of character for him because it's my movie. I needed him to play that role to see something so that it could come up and I can heal a pattern. For example, act exactly like a past boyfriend or something so that I could heal energy that was stuck there. Or I acted just like his mom did or something. So we're constantly playing these roles for each other. So it's really important in our perspective to see it from this higher place. Otherwise, it's just too easy to get caught up into the movie. So there's the obvious reasons for triggers, which is the 3D reason, but the real reason, the bigger reason, is that it's designed for a purpose to bring these things up to the light.
So let's talk a little bit about the triggers now and the various aspects of that, the various layers of it. And it's really quite amazing when you start to look at it. So think in terms of Jill said something that got me upset. So, and it triggered the part of me that feels uncared for and unimportant. So I grew up in a place where I very much felt like that. And so Jill triggers that. So, and then I can react in a variety of ways to my triggers, but I just go into my first reaction, which is the blaster, right? So, and then she blasts me back, right? She feels attacked, and she's totally innocent, obviously. And then she feels attacked. I felt innocent too. So both, here we are, both of us feeling victimized by the other guy. Mm-hmm. And that took about 17 and a half seconds, right? Yeah. So it's incredibly quick. Yeah. It's just an amazing quick reaction. So part of that is my inner child's reaction, right? So there's a subpersonality. My inner protector says, I have nothing to do with this, you're the bad guy. Part of her does the same thing. So there's a dance between our inner kids, basically. And some of that is related to the way the brain works. So what's really happening deep down in the brain is that my rational side goes out the window, right? Because I feel threatened. And so my inner child, my inner child is reacting in a fairly primitive way by lashing out. So that's my, you can think of that as lizard brain, right? So my inner child is very young and reacting accordingly. She does the same thing. So what's happening is there's a battle now after 7.5 seconds between my inner child and her inner child, and really between my inner lizard brain and her inner lizard brain. Guess where that's going to go? Not so hot. So that's the quick layer. If you look a little more deeply at that, there's also the dance that I learned from my family of origin, from my parents, in terms of how to dance when you're in conflict. And all of that's unconscious. I said I don't want to be like them and forget it and so on. But there's still part of me that learned that really deeply. To distress the beloved, for example, one of the aspects. Okay, so then that you look a little more deeply, and then lo and behold, there's some stuff. You know what? I've had 3 relationships in the past that are exactly the same thing. So she's just repeating that. So all women obviously are blah blah blah, right? So there's that level, and then if you look a little more deeply again, then there's past life stuff, and then you look more deeply again, and this is a pattern in terms of rejection and not taking responsibility and so forth, at the soul group level. So think of twin flames. We're connected to each other as souls over many lifetimes, but we're also very connected to a group of other souls. So that's a soul group. And then it goes broader than that, soul group and extended soul group and so forth. So you see the various layers. So part of what we do is we look at all of that and we help to heal the various layers, and we teach people how to do that so they can transform their lives more and more profoundly. So that's crucial. One of the wonderful things about this is that my brain and Jill's brain are designed in such a way that we see the other guy as being the culprit. I have nothing to do with this. She's the culprit. So then it's totally legitimate for me to be reacting to her the way I am, and she feels exactly the same way. So that helps the patterns to keep going between us over and over again. And if we look at other relationships, it might be the same, or just a one pattern between my beloved and I, right? So that's really crucial. And that information for you, as you look at your life in relation to this, gives you power in terms of, okay, I need to transform the various layers, and I need to dance more differently within myself rather than be reactive all of a sudden. I need to react differently to my beloved. And then that can help to change the dance, right? There's other things we can do. We'll talk about that. So so that's all I want to say in terms of the brain. There's also basically that it's the way the brain works. Just one more small thing in terms of this is there's this thing that's been discovered in the last 10-15 years called mirror neurons. So as I have an emotional reaction, Jill's brain reacts instantaneously, mirroring what's going on inside my brain. So there's different meanings in terms of mirroring, but that's one of them that's really crucial. So what's going on in my brain triggers the same reactions in her, which triggers the reaction, which amplifies the reaction in me, and it amplifies more and more. You see, and we need to learn how to master all of this stuff.
So when you're triggered, so we're going to talk now about what you can do when you get triggered. So the first thing is to remind yourself, and this takes some practice, but you can do it. Remind yourself, okay, this is a movie, this is being orchestrated for my benefit, this is a gift. So really some self-talk is really useful when you get triggered, because you'll have that instantaneous reaction. And one thing that we learned when we were studying the brain, really fascinating stuff, as Rami was saying, is we're not responsible for our first thought, but we're responsible for our next thought. So our lizard brain will get triggered. Then after that lizard brain gets triggered, we're either going to go this way or we're going to go that way. So if we just let it roll and we let that toddler brain, that lizard brain, that is going to go nowhere good. So you want to nip that process in the bud, basically, is the first thing you want to do. So when you get triggered, you go into lizard brain. The first thing you want to do is reactivate the part of you that can think. Really, it's the higher, wiser side. So you can just ask, first of all, I do this when I get triggered now. I ask my divine self to come in and run the show. So you're taking your lizard brain out of the driver's seat and you're putting your higher, wiser side in the driver's seat. Now, if you can do that, that needs to happen fairly quickly. So if you can calm yourself down, if you can bring that higher, wiser part, and you can imagine, Rami and I have this technique that we do when our inner kids are upset. You imagine lifting up and holding your inner child. And as Rami did in the beginning, you can ask Kuan Yin or Mother Mary to hold your inner child. You want to comfort that part of you that gets upset. So you're giving love to the lizard brain or to the inner child. You activate the higher, wiser side and then let that part address what's going on. So you want to shift out of higher consciousness. Shift into higher consciousness, not out, into higher consciousness, out of lizard brain, if you can. If you can't, the very best thing you can do is if you're triggered and you're just so flooded or triggered or you haven't been able to stop that initial response and you're in lizard brain, we know what happens next, right? You're going to say or do some pretty destructive things because lizards, I don't know, lizards, maybe actual lizards are pretty smart.
Lizards say pretty stupid things sometimes, though.
We say dumb things when we're triggered, and we can say things that, the thing is too about twins, and I want to cry, is we can go right to their core wound. We know exactly what it is. So we're going to say that thing because we feel like we just got wounded enormously. We're going to return the favor, of course, right? So the lizard wants to retaliate. Do not do this. If you can't calm yourself down, if you can't go into your higher, wiser side, zip your lip and get out of Dodge. Because if our auras are interacting, again, we're back to that twin flames being magnets. If we get into this dynamic and our auras are intertwined, even if you're on the phone, your auras are intertwined at a higher level. But if you're sitting there with them, you need to put some space. But do it with compassion. So just say something to them like, oh, honey, gosh, I'm really feeling flooded or I'm really feeling overwhelmed right now. I'm going to take a little time and calm myself down, and then we can talk in a little while. So don't just slam down the phone if you need space. Again, if you can. If that's all you can do in the moment, better to do that than to lash out. But zip your lip. Create some distance. Do some things to calm yourself down and get back into your higher, wiser side. Then you can proceed with them again. The shift also that you want to make is out of blame and into compassion. And the way that you do that is take 100% ownership that this is my movie. Whatever's going on, my twin triggered it, but it's my trigger. It's my wound. It's not them. It's me. Thank you very much for triggering me. Thank you for bringing this pain up to the light so I can heal it. Now I need to do the business of healing it. So in the moment, if you just bring in the higher, wiser self, bring in the Kuan Yin or Mother Mary are great, hold and love that part of you. Let the energy dissipate, because remember what's happening is it's just energy. Emotions are energy. It wants to move. Emotion, energy in motion. If you let that wave pass through you and you're just holding yourself, then it passes through and you've got that energy back, because that's what's happening. This energy is returning home to you. It's stuck somewhere. It's coming home. So go into compassion for yourself. Shift out of blame. Take 100% responsibility. Put your higher, wiser side in the driver's seat. And if you can't do that, just take a break. Don't speak from the reactive place, because Rami and I have had this experience before we knew better, and I know a lot of you have, because we get the emails all the time, calling, blasting them. We've said the cruelest, meanest, crappiest things to each other. And you know what? We don't forget what is said to us, because it comes out of the mouth of our beloved. They don't forget what we said to them, even if it was just our dumb toddler lizard brain that just wanted to lash out. They have to live with what we said, and we can really hit below the belt. That stuff is hard to forget. And if you've got, I'll just say this little bit. If you males can tend to, well, we could say a lot about gender, which we won't go into now, but males can tend to have a harder time compartmentalizing things. So I think I said that wrong, but anyway, if you're blasting a male and hit him where it hurts, he has a harder time recovering, and we'll talk about why that is. So males can carry this thing and you may never hear from them again if you keep going in that same way. So be really, really aware that those woundings can last a long time and can be very, very hard for the other person to heal. I think that's all I want to say about that. So we'll go over to you.
Okay, so I'll just talk a tiny bit and then, about when the other guy's triggered and how to handle that piece. So one of the aspects is that you need to be in a place of strength, right? So what the clearing that we did, the healing clearing that we did at the very beginning, in terms of going into your power, your grounding. So go back, practice that, and for you to go into your power more fully, you want that more fully, and as very advanced souls, most of us don't want to be in our power, but it's crucial. If we're not going to be reactive, we have to be in our power, period. So you need to heal the parts of you that don't want to be in your power, because we figure it's destructive and so forth. And in the process of not wanting to be damaging to other people, we create damage. So you own that more fully. And this is a not wanting to own our power, is it related to past lives and etc. So you go into your power more fully. There's the various ways of doing that. So just imagine that, just say, be with me now, and I'll say gentle strength. Do this at the heart chakra. I'll say this a number of times and just feel into what happens. Gentle strength. Gentle strength. Gentle strength. Gentle strength. One more. Gentle strength. Okay. And now go into compassion, go into your higher heart center. Two inches, 5 centimeters above your heart chakra. And bring compassion there. Can I ask Kuan Yin, Chinese goddess Kuan Yin, or Mother Mary? For those of you who are more into Buddhism, you can ask for the future Buddha, Buddha of compassion, Maitreya, to come in. Various high beings can do the same function. Okay, so you're in a position of stronger, less reactive, more compassion for yourself now first, for the smaller, lower parts that are reacting and freaking out and blah, blah, blah. Pat, pat, pat. To those parts of you. And then send that energy out to the other guy. Compassion for them, for the parts of them that freak out and they feel unworthy and react from there and etc. Terrified of getting hurt and so on. And then part of the goal is you want to hear what they have to say. You need to hear their concerns, but it needs to be not too intense. So if things are really intense, you need to take a time out between you. But I want to hear you. Let's take a break. I want to hear you later when things are less intense. Otherwise, it's hard for me to listen. And pat, pat, pat. There's a variety of things we can do from there, and that's some of the things that we talk about in our webinars and so on. So, but for now, you just bring peace between you and them. Imagine that happening now between you two in relation to the issue that you've struggled with between you in the past, or you might be struggling with right now too. If you're with them directly, then helping them to calm down is really important. If you're apart, imagine sending that energy to them.
A couple of things I want to add to that. So Rami talked about mirror neurons. It's incredibly powerful because I've seen Rami actually is intuitively a lot better at this than I am. He's been good at this from the beginning almost. When I'm upset, he just shifts into this mode. He goes into his heart and he just becomes like like a mother when the child is upset. Come here, it's okay. Oh, you have a boo-boo. Oh, this thing that he does, pat, pat, pat. He really has a much better intrinsic ability to do that than I do. But typically that's more the feminine side of us. So you imagine, just as Rami said, go into your heart, almost like a mother, just giving her child some love, some care, some compassion. Yes, you're very hurt. I see that. It doesn't matter what they're saying, because remember, if they're in lizard brain, half the stuff out of their mouth isn't going to make a lot of sense, right? They'll be saying things that whatever. You just hold them energetically until that energy releases, and then they come back. They come back to their higher, wiser side. So you're helping facilitate that process. And man, oh man, does that increase trust. If your beloved can do that for you, what an incredible gift. I don't even know what Rami's had to listen to me say, right? But he just listens. Oh yes, I hear that you feel that way. You're validating, you're empathizing, you're just giving them, and you're not saying they're right. You're not saying that their crazy stuff they're saying is true. You're just validating and empathizing them as a person, allowing that energy to flow through them, and then they come back and they've got a piece of themselves back, and you facilitated that. You helped them do that. So that increases their trust in you too. So it's really, so the mirror neurons, if you're holding that space of calm, that helps them get calmer quicker. And that can be done from a distance too. You don't have to be sitting here. It can be done on the phone, whatever. You're creating a space of calm that invites them to come back into calmness. It's actually very powerful if you can do it. And you have to really, again, be in a space in your brain of not taking what they say personally. And that can be very hard to do. But if you just, again, tell yourself, they're just releasing, this is their movie, this isn't my movie, I'm just here to help facilitate. That can really, really help. And then you get more of them to be your beloved because they've got a piece of themselves back. It's very powerful practice. Shifting out of blame into compassion, holding space for them. One thing is, if they really get blasting and they're really saying some really mean things, then it's perfectly okay to set a boundary and say, honey, this is too intense for me right now. Rami said it, but we just want to be really clear. This isn't about just taking abuse. That's not the goal. If it gets too much for you, it's perfectly okay to say, I need to take a break. I really want to hear what you have to say. We'll come back later. So don't allow yourself to be abused. But the more you can stay in your heart and just let the energy flow and not pick it up, that's a real gift to them and a gift to your union because it brings you closer. It's very bonding. Okay, so what's next here? Broader context. Okay. So so the gist of what we're talking about today is that triggers are orchestrated by the divine. They're not caused by your beloved. So number one is to remember the triggers are not caused by my beloved. They're caused by what I've got inside me. My beloved is giving me a gift by bringing this stuff up to the surface. And as we said at the beginning, it doesn't have to be from your twin. It can be from your boss or your child or whatever. You can do the exact same process. So you shift into higher consciousness. You pat, pat, pat to your lizard brain. You pat, pat, pat to their lizard brain. You let that energy flow and leave. And then you've gotten a piece of your energy back. And you can ascend much more quickly. So you don't get caught up in the 3D movie. You're keeping a higher consciousness about it. And if you're not able to do that, you just take a break and then you come back. And then the step after that is after the energy is calmer, you want to see what's underneath there. Then you go deeper. As Rami mentioned, you want to look at, okay, is there a pattern here that I need to heal? Is there a past life wound that I need to go deeper with? Is there more that needs to be done? Because remember, these things are in layers. And this takes a while, and it's hard. You've got to really pace yourself and nourish yourself and make sure that, the twin flame journey is tough for a lot of us. It's really grueling. It's a marathon. It's a mountain climb. We're trying to get to the top of Mount Everest. It's a lot of work. But learning how to work with triggers this way to bring you higher quicker is a real gift that you can give to yourself and your twin. And remember, we have the perspective that twins are here not just for ourselves, but to assist in the healing of humanity. the collective. So as we do this, we're actually forging new pathways so that humans can get along better, so that humans can use difficulty to go higher rather than get in these wars and battles. It's also helping heal the masculine and the feminine. Even though, many twins are same gender, we're still carrying polarities of masculine and feminine. And the other thing is, it helps us come up with higher third level solutions. Because remember, we polarize, and that's the source of triggers a lot. Rami and I have found incredible gifts in, rather than battling in polarity, okay, what are you seeing in me that I can't see? Wow, this is great. What am I seeing in you? And how can we create something higher together? It can really zoom us very quickly and prevent a lot of glitches, prevent a lot of separation energy, and prevent a lot of pain. So if you want to do more with us, we have a couple main ways that we offer ourselves. One is through our series Transforming Blockages to Your Twin Flame Union, and that's our self-healing program. We teach you the techniques that we use, and that helps you heal the underlying causes of the triggers. Because if you're separated and not dancing with your twin, what a great time to do your healing work and bring those triggers up yourself and heal the underlying things, so that when you're dancing together, it's smoother. And it just helps your life go better too, right? Because you're here to heal, you're here to transform and ascend. And then we also have our ongoing series that we're just starting. This is early 2020 when we're doing this video, called Transcending the Stages of Twin Flame Union. And we're taking you really deep to heal at all layers, connecting more with the divine, healing for past lives, healing dynamics between you. We're going to really do it all, and this is based on our own experience as well as the many, many twin flames that we've worked with over our, we're in our 9th year of connection now. So it's a very rich series, and we're really excited to be doing that. So the links to all of that are below. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, just one more thing. That a lot of what pretty much all of what we talked about today really relates well not only to twin flames but to other couples as well. So feel free to pass it on to others. The vast majority of it is going to relate in terms of this particular, in terms of triggers. Other things are, very specific to twin flames. But yeah, so thank you so much for being with us.
And I'll do one thing to end. Let's just ask, so imagine there's something called the galactic cord that goes from your heart chakra up through the crown of your head, up to divine source. Just imagine that being connected now. And you can invite your twin to do this as well, just at a distance. And just imagine like a ball of light, beautiful divine light. And imagine that light traveling down that cord into the top of your head, all the way down. So think of it going through your central energy channel, down into your heart, down into your inner child, filling yourself up, all the way down. And just imagine that your grounding cord, which goes from your sacrum down into the earth. And imagine activating, it's called your Earth Star. It's about 12 inches under your feet. And just allow any energy that may have gotten stirred up from this video just to drop down into the earth so it can be transmuted. And allow this light from the divine to fill up all your cells, all the layers of your aura. And you can ask for Archangel Michael to put blue dome of protection around you. You can ask to clear your home, your vehicle, your place of work. And clear the third energy between your twin, you and your twin. And let's ask for the divine to really light up your center of compassion for both of you and clear any cobwebs in the brain so that you can see each other more clearly. And after a kerfuffle happens, it's really important to, we didn't talk so much about doing repair work, but it's really important to go back if you've messed up, if you've blasted, and just make amends for that. Take responsibility. I'm so sorry I was triggered. My brain was, I was acting out of my own pain. I'm so sorry I hurt you. I'm so sorry I said those things. I love you so much. And you can do that in the 5D if you're not connected with them. And just as you go through the day, just pay attention to your energy and how you're thinking and feeling about your twin. Are you in blame? Guess what? That's pushing you apart. Are you in compassion? That's bringing you together. It's really that simple. When you're in blame, you're pushing them away. When you're in compassion, you're drawing them closer. Because most of us want to be closer to our twin, even if we're not in 3D with them. We want to have that energy flowing and helping us ascend so that we can serve the world more broadly as well. So everyone, it's been great being with you today, and we send you lots of compassion and lots of love. We're here for you if you need us. Again, the links to everything we offer is down below, and we send you our love.
Namaste, everybody.
Namaste.